You can start now.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Terence from GSMA, heading APAC 5G industry community. So welcome to join us again about this logistic port and transportation industry interest group. Today, we focus on smart ports and logistics in 5G city. This is a workshop, so welcome to post your question in the Q&A box as we try to answer you online or follow up offline. So this workshop also provides simultaneous translation on Mandarin. So in the Zoom menu, you can select the English or Chinese channel. So why smart port and logistics is important in APAC? So APAC have over 18 out of 25 global largest capacity container port. So APAC is a major manufacturing hub in the world. We also have over 56% of world population and increasing middle class. So the traditional port world is changing, demographical, technological, and also sustainability drive are affecting the daily business and shaping very important trends. So as a mobile industry association, today, GSMA is very honorable to invite our APAC stakeholders and members together to talk about this topic. We have port authority from Thailand, mobile operators, engineering firm, technology and solution provider. So after my quick opening, we will have a pair of speakers from Thailand. They will talk about the importance of smart seaport for regional logistic hub, their vision in the 5G era, and also a case study on the Nam Chaban Seaport delivered by Port Authority of Thailand and AIS. Next, we have another pair of speakers coming from China. Recently, they just won a GOMO award, which is an Oscar award in the mobile industry, about the port Venice's intelligent chain empower a smart green port. So they will share about their strategy on how mobile operator support smart ports development and a case study on the winning case, Tianjin port. And then next we have a pair of speakers from South Asia. So they will share about their experience on digitalize the port with global experience, learning from their operating practice from Chittagong port and also some experience from Europe. They will also talk about how they work together to address the challenge in order to support the digital port transformation. Final but not least, we have invited Thai Automation and Robotic Association, TERA. So recently, APAC 5G community worked with TERA and AIS on a case study about how 5G enable autonomous robot for logistics and goods transportation. So let's start. If you don't know GSMA, just remind we are a mobile global industry association uniting more than 1,000 companies, over 200 market and country. Every year, GSMA produce very large industry leading conference, MWC at Barcelona, Shanghai, Las Vegas, and Africa. And this year, we also host Mobile Fish 6.0 regional conference at Singapore on 2nd to 3rd of August. So there will be 5G, IoT, digital society, and also industry-focused summit on manufacturing, advanced transportation, and healthcare. Welcome to join us physically. So 5G already rolled out for more than 2 years. At the end of last year, Q3, there are already 172 mobile operators roll out 5G across 68 markets. In the region APAC, we also have more than 16 market roll out 5G. In ASEAN, half of ASEAN country already roll out 5G, including Thailand, Philippines, Singapore, Indonesia, and recently Malaysia. So APAC is a very huge market with great opportunity, but also there are fermentation challenge for scaling. So that's why GSMA as a mobile global industry association, we work closely with our regional members here to set up this 5G community in order to support industry accelerating 5G and IoT understanding and adopting the technology for their benefits, especially on digital transformation. So there are operator, government agency, enterprises in leading sector, and also solution provider. Recently, we also got a lot of ecosystem partner to join in order to accelerate the enterprise to adopt 5G. So this year we focus on 3 sectors: manufacturing, healthcare, and also the logistic ports and transportation. We produce a lot of case study. We work with our pioneer member who already developed 5G use cases. As of some example here share, we have worked with AIS on robot and work with Terra about their machine working on manufacturing and logistics for. We work with Hong Kong Telecom about the case study on the 5G hospital. And also we work with True, also from Thailand, about their secure 5G connectivity, serving the manufacturing and also the healthcare sector. So if you are the member, you will already receive our newsletter and also join some of our past activity, including healthcare, manufacturing, and also other logistic port and transportation activity before. If you missed, don't worry, you can go back to our website. Since you join our member, you will be able to visit this content. This is a calendar showing our upcoming activity. So after the workshop today, on 2nd of June, we will have Connected Healthcare again. And then we will have a physical mobile 360 APAC conference. Welcome to join us. So there's no membership fee if you are very outstanding working on 5G pioneer. So we will definitely consider to give you exposure and speaking opportunity. If you are very outstanding, we will definitely help to write some case study, or you can also compete in our GOMO award every year in MWC. So now let's look at some figure about the logistic port and transportation market. So with IoT forecast to open up to 1.9 trillion opportunity in logistics, 5G is one of the key enabler to facilitate data-driven analytic decision-making with big data and AI, according to DHL. And global smart port is expected to reach 2 billion by 2025. Growth at a compound annual growth rate 18%. So the reason behind, of course, is driving the port for reducing time and cost for shipping for the digital transformation. And also, as I mentioned, there are huge opportunity in APAC. 18 out of the top 25 capacity container ports is in this region in APAC, covering more than 10 countries. So 75% of the seaport operator believe automation is very critical to maintain their competitiveness in the next 3 to 5 years. And 60% of the port operators see automation as a lever for operation security. 1/3 of them believe that automation could increase their productivity by 50% and also saving their costs by 50%. So the technology really drive innovation. Ports are increasingly implementing innovation in the entire value chain with different kind of technology. So from the seaside, where the goods produced transport to port for maritime transport, at the port, loading, unloading, storage, and further industrial processing. And finally, at the land side, it involves intermodal transport or final hinterland transport in cities. So there are a lot of technology can apply. For example, goods management monitoring with sensors and IoT, move and transport the goods with remote operation, remote train, autonomous vehicle, AMR, AGV, drone, and different machine. And also big data AI can optimize the process, automate the automation, provide predictive maintenance, supply chain, and demand analytics. So we see 5G is very powerful technology. It's not only designed for use in a consumer, in a mobile phone scenario. It has a lot of powerful feature. For example, eMBB, the gigabit throughput and strong coverage, better than 4G, LTE, and Wi-Fi. It means it could support computer vision for the port management, for the warehouse management. It allows a lot of devices, machine to machine, machine to platform communication using the cloud edge computing, support smart port services, scenario analysis. It also have ultra low latency communication, which means down to millisecond latency performance. It means it can allow remote operation of crane and machine in a centralized room, autonomous vehicle, transportation, mobile drones moving around to support the operation, and also remote expertise with AR, VR for guided workforce training and skills development. And finally, massive machine time communication, MTC, which means it supports a very big coverage and high density of device up to million device per square kilometer. So it means it can have a massive wireless sensor network coverage, enhance the port operation, access and goods visibility and traceability, energy management, and a lot of data can be uploaded for analytics and AI and different kind of predictive maintenance. So the good news is there are already some pioneers in this region deploy 5G, and also they work on different sectors for different use cases. For example, today you will hear the Lam Chabang seaport in Thailand, the Tianjin port in China, the Chittagong Grand Port in Bangladesh, and also you will hear Terra to talk about how they support 5G robot in logistics. So now, let me introduce the first pair of speakers coming from Thailand, Kun Krian Krai, Chai Siwon Shek, the Director General Port Authority of Thailand, and also their partner, Kun Netwachai Kia Kukura, Head of Enterprise Marketing and SME Business Development from AIS.
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Good morning and good afternoon to everyone นะครับ Today is my pleasure and my privilege นะครับ to become one of speakers in this distinguished event by GSMA นะครับ Together with me today นะครับ we have คุณเกียงไกรชัยสิริวงศ์สุขนะครับ Director General of Port Authority of Thailand or PAT นะครับ He will join us for the first session to share about the case of Lam Chabang Seaport in Thailand นะครับ Let me share my screen here นะครับ Wait a moment นะครับ Today we're gonna discuss about Thailand Smart World Class Port for Smart Future นะครับ And the topic that we're gonna discuss today, firstly I would like to ask Director General เกียงไกรนะครับ to share us about Port Authority of Thailand นะครับ briefly explain us about what is Port Authority of Thailand currently doing นะครับ and share his vision about smart port in the 5G era. And the second half of this session, I will share the use case that PAT and AIS นะครับ we work closely together นะครับ to develop 5G use cases นะครับ in Lam Chabang Port นะครับ in the Eastern Economic Corridor or EEC in Thailand นะครับ so first of all ครับ I would like to introduce and invite คุณเกียงไกรนะครับ to be on the stage นะครับ สวัสดีนะครับคุณเกียงไกรสวัสดี
ครับครับสวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับคุณวรชัยครับ Thank you very much for recommend me to our stage. So I would like to introduce about the PAT. Could you please share screen? PAT. The full name is Port Authority of Thailand, so known as PAT, is a state-owned enterprise under the supervision of the Ministry of Transport, with an objective to conduct the business pertaining to the port for the interest of the state and public. PAT currently made 5 ports, 2 main ports. You can see the red one, the biggest one is Lam Chabang Port. Bangkok Port is number 2, including 3 region ports, namely Chiang Saen Commercial Port, Ching Khong Port, and Anong Port. Of each port, which vary different levels of control and private participations. Bangkok Port is owned and operated by PAT, which acts as a service provider for all port-related services. Meanwhile, for Rem Chabang Port, PAT takes more of a landlord role, providing concession to private terminal operator to manage individual terminal operations. For regional ports, the port operation and services are carried out by PAT. So I would like to tell in detail. Bangkok Port is a main river port of Thailand in the middle that can handle the maximum size of the vessel, 12,000 deadweight tonnage, and has total cargo handling capacity of 1.5 million TEU per year. For Rem Chabang Port is a deep sea port located on the eastern coast of the Thailand, which is able to accommodate vessels up to 224,000 deadweight, and the total capacity of Rem Chabang Port, including Phase 1 and Phase 2, is 11 million TEUs per year. Nowadays, Rem Chabang Port is one of the world's busiest ports and ranking 20 of the world's largest container ports. For the regional port, Chiang Saen Port and Chiang Khong Port in the northern part, located in the northern part of Thailand. In the opposite side, the regional port, Lanong Port, is situated on Thailand's Andaman coast. It has been promoted as a trade gateway to the BIMSTEC country. In 2021, Thailand container throughput was 11.47 million TEUs. The volume of container throughput at Rem Chabang only stood at 8.42 million TEUs, while Bangkok Port, its throughput was 1.44 million TEU, which accounted for 86% of the total container throughput in Thailand.
I see. So PAT not only operate your own port, but you also regulate and provide landlord to port operator that have to operate in other port in Thailand as well.
Yeah,
so I
right.
want to ask คุณเกรียงไกรครับ do you have can you share us นะครับ the vision of PAT นะครับ about smart port ครับ
Yeah, for the next slide, you can see the PAT visions. We would like to be world-class port with excellent logistics services for the sustainable growth in 2030. The strategic theme for the fourth PAT emphasize to develop organization competence focusing on the digital technology and innovation development in order to enhance its operation to be world-class port by developing data logistics chain connectivity to the port community system PCS, which is a single platform to facilitate the intelligence and secure exchange of information between public and private stakeholders in the marine transport sector. The system allowed flow of information exchange for every business model, including government to government G2G or business to government B2G, and also business to business as well. Moreover, the PCS can be integrated into the national single window and SW system and terminal operation system TOTS, service as an e-logistics platform. PCS will benefit port user by reducing the operation costs, saving time, and shortening all port operation procedures. Now, PCS project has progress continuously, and we are already e-bidding has been done. The winning consortium will proceed with the development of the PCS system for PAT accordingly. Moreover, we redesign our port IT infrastructure and various service operations process to maximize the benefits of the system, which include the efficiency, service time management, availability of information, and efficient port operation as well. That is a PAT vision.
It seems to me that PAT has a vision, an end-to-end vision about digital technology in every aspect of port operation. That's a very nice sharing. For 5G in particular, I would like to ask you to share us about your thought about 5G with the use cases in Smart Seaport.
Okay, thanks for asking about the 5G for the expert. APAC is playing a vital role in supporting logistics system of the country. We are also seeking opportunities to apply 5G technology in our port operations for enhanced effectiveness, security, safety, and sustainability. The implementation of 5G technology in Bangkok Port aims to control and connect port machine and equipment with wireless technology. We hope that real-time data feed from cargo handling machine with assist us to analyze and import port operation in security. So we include together to, we include the two pair together, safety and environmental. So at present, for this slide, we will show the typical port operation system tend to be limited by the amount of data information sharing, while the demand and competition of the shipping keep rising. That port needs improvement to cope with the challenge, and they cannot rely on the fiber optic cable supporting by 3G or 2G mobile connectivity allow port anymore. This wire network can support the operation and be useful to some extent, but they are insufficient for automation in digital era. 5G is a platform that helps accelerate the development of a small port. 5G can enable port to connect and monitor real-time data covering specific area of port operation, such as vessel movement, shipping container, and more. To become a smart port, we can leverage 5G technology and deploy state-of-the-art camera and programmable logic controller PLCs on crane, allowing more precise movement, making the handling of the container quicker and safer. With 5G empowering all these advanced tools and equipment installed allow the small port, vast amount data will be recorded and extend. The output can be analyzed and used to enhance the port operation efficiency on a continuing basis. That I will show you about the example for the port operation we show in the next slide. So drone can be remotely controlled with 5G technology for the inspection and prevention of port incidents. CCTV can record, inspect, and monitor traffic density. Then the staff can use the data to predict and manage the traffic for instantly. The sensors connect with 5G will provide real-time data on the currently environment status, such as air pollution and electric energy consumption in port handling equipment, which can be used for long-term environment plan in the port. For in Lam Chabang port, for phase T, PAT, as a regulator, encourage terminal operator to adopt an automation system, as 3G or 4G network can calling are insufficient for full automate system. So that's why 5G technology will be introduced to bring sufficient potential for enabling port automation system, leading to improved flexibility, predictivity, and safety. Meanwhile, the Internet of Things provides data connection that enable crane to run automatically and being controlled and coordinated by a center entity by using Internet of Things, and also use the 5G technology will allow port to handle the massive flow of the data required to make dozens or even hundreds of connected devices in facility work together seamlessly. We can say that 5G technology will be the next level of port development toward to port automations.
Thank you ครับคุณเกียรติครับ
Yeah, 5G era.
Thank you ครับ I think we have got the information about vision of PAT นะครับ and also the action plan how PAT and port operator นะครับ will adopt 5G technology to become a smart seaport in Thailand นะครับ so I think it's a very good opportunity for AAS นะครับ that we have collaborated with PAT นะครับ and also with one of port operator in แหลมฉบัง port นะครับ the port that คุณเกรียงไกร mentioned earlier that the largest port in Thailand in Eastern Economic Corridor here in Thailand นะครับ we did a trial of 5G in แหลมฉบัง port นะครับ at least for 3 use cases นะครับ the first use case นะครับ that AAS นะครับ support with PAT and the port operator there นะครับ is about smart crane that คุณเกรียงไกร previously mentioned นะครับ the second case นะครับ is about CCTV นะครับ both case we started to did the trial นะครับ and we already deploy 5G for the real operation already นะครับ we started the use case of CCTV and use case of smart crane in 2020 นะครับ about Q2 and Q3 of 2020 นะครับ and we also started to implement another use case นะครับ of autonomous vehicle that คุณเกียงไกร share his vision earlier as well นะครับ so before I jump to what PAT and AAS นะครับ have done in แหลมฉบัง port I have a small video short video clip นะครับ to show you about how 5G นะครับ support the smart port in แหลมฉบังนะครับ please take a look ครับ this is a แหลมฉบัง port นะครับ in EEC นะครับ Eastern Economic Corridor นะครับ we use 5G นะครับ to connect remote control crane นะครับ between the control center นะครับ command and control center นะครับ we connect with the 5G network that we have the network coverage inside the port นะครับ and we install the 5G CPE นะครับ to connect with the crane previously นะครับ the crane use the Wi-Fi connectivity นะครับ with some waveguide to bring Wi-Fi signal นะครับ to the crane นะครับ but after they switch นะครับ from Wi-Fi to 5G นะครับ the operation is more smoothly is more smooth นะครับ and have more productivity นะครับ I will show you in detail later นะครับ this is the first use case of the remote control crane. The second use case is a CCTV over 5G นะครับ within the port นะครับ there's a lot of CCTV นะครับ and those CCTV นะครับ get connected by 5G as well นะครับ we use the same infrastructure นะครับ and bring video signal from CCTV นะครับ to the command and control center นะครับ so AS we install another set of 5G radio network นะครับ inside the port นะครับ and install 5G CPE to bring the data นะครับ from CCTV and crane นะครับ back to command center นะครับ this is a short video นะครับ to introduce the use case that we have done with Port Authority of Thailand นะครับ in แหลมฉบัง Seaport นะครับ so in a nutshell นะครับ we have two use case นะครับ that we can share now. One case is about remote control cranes นะครับ Another case is about CCTV over 5G นะครับ What 5G can support the remote control crane นะครับ is about the higher bandwidth นะครับ to transmit video signal from the crane back to the command center นะครับ and also the low latency connectivity นะครับ to bring control signal นะครับ from the command center back to the crane to make the crane controlling นะครับ more accurately นะครับ and almost real time responsive นะครับ for the CCTV over 5G นะครับ they use the use case of mobile broadband function of 5G นะครับ to transmit a very high speed data นะครับ from CCTV and there are many CCTV in the port นะครับ that need the very high bandwidth นะครับ to transmit those video signal back to the command center as well นะครับ for this case นะครับ AS not only provide 5G coverage within the port we also test the private network นะครับ for dedicated for the smart C port as well นะครับ and we did test the network slicing with the use case also we also provide edge computing นะครับ on the premise ครับ at the command at the control room นะครับ so in this case นะครับ we not only test for the 5G connectivity but we also test for private network function of 5G network slicing function of 5G and also provide edge computing นะครับ because this case need very low latency นะครับ so we test the edge computing with the port นะครับ at the control room นะครับ in แหลมฉบัง so you can notice that AS not only provide just mobile network connectivity we also provide infrastructure and platform นะครับ to enable 5G solution both horizontal and vertical นะครับ to build upon our 5G platform for business we also invest a lot especially in Eastern Economic Corridor นะครับ the แหลมฉบัง seaport located in EEC นะครับ and right now we have nationwide network about 76% nationwide coverage นะครับ coverage population coverage นะครับ but within EEC coverage นะครับ we plan to expand our network coverage to have more than 90% network coverage in this area this is a strategic area that Thai government นะครับ try to promote new business S curve นะครับ there นะครับ and transportation and logistics is one of those verticals นะครับ that will be focused นะครับ in the EEC area นะครับ so I would like to bring the last question back to คุณเกียงไกรครับนะครับ since we know that 5G can enable many smart port use cases นะครับ I would like you to share your vision for the future นะครับ your plan your next step นะครับ that you will have for the next few years ครับ please ครับคุณเกียงไกรครับ you're on mute ครับ sorry ครับ you're on mute
Yeah, next. Okay, thank you very much. We also to collaboration, especially collaboration with both of AS, also the other operator. For that, to drive the government's Thailand 4.0 policy and PAT vision, PAT has adopted sophisticated technology to boost the efficient exchange of logistic information. We have defined the roadmap to be a world-class port focusing on the digitizations and innovation into 3 streams as follows. For stage 1, developing the port 4.0 platform, which will play a crucial role in promoting the easy and efficiency exchange of logistic information, well as convenient port and logistic processes with clear visibility along supply chain to the PCS system. For stage 2, 2025 to 2027, promoting the use of port 4.0 platform among all agencies and stakeholders in the maritime transport sector. For the last stage, stage 3, optimizing port 4.0 platform and big data to reduce the logistic costs and developing innovative products, services, and operations. Moreover, the cornerstone of port 4.0 will be an innovative technology in form of automated operations inclusion. I am certain that 5G technology will be a key mechanism to support PAT to achieve Port 4.0 platform or a smart port management. So we would like to faster speed, stable networks, and better big data management. Currently, PAT is designed to develop 5G technology to improve port operations, security, safety, and sustainability, as well as to increase Thailand logistic competitiveness as a whole.
Thank you ครับคุณเกียร
Yeah,
ติ
that
ครับ
is.
ครับ There are many questions นะครับ posted on the Q&A here in Zoom นะครับ I would like to answer some questions นะครับ because there are many questions. I will answer those questions with Pat team in the chat in the Q&A box later นะครับ But I would like to bring one question here นะครับ to be answered on the stage นะครับ What is the challenge that Pat and AS face นะครับ when we trying use 5G to transform the port to become a smart port นะครับ For this use case นะครับ I would like to share that it's not only about 5G connectivity นะครับ we have to integrate at the application level as well นะครับ because you know that the control the remote control crane นะครับ they have their own application, they have their own server นะครับ at the smart port. So we need to integrate our network นะครับ to the application of port operator นะครับ. And there is another question about the signal between 5G CPE นะครับ and the equipment นะครับ. We both use we use 5G to transmit data from control and command center นะครับ to the 5G CPE ครับ. And from the 5G CPE to CCTV or to remote control crane, we can choose นะครับ between wire 1 นะครับ or use Wi-Fi as the equipment already previously connected by Wi-Fi as well นะครับ. So I think the challenge is about how to reduce the latency นะครับ for this use case นะครับ and make the remote control crane application นะครับ run smoothly นะครับ and this help the port operator นะครับ to minimize the time that the controller นะครับ have to move from one crane to another crane นะครับ and they can utilize the controller of the crane นะครับ much better นะครับ I think the result will keep reporting more and more นะครับ in the future นะครับ. So in the nutshell นะครับ I think that we will keep working with PAT นะครับ AS will keep working with PAT นะครับ and port operator นะครับ to bring more use case to the society นะครับ and once we can share your more result of another smart port use case นะครับ I think that AS will publish with PAT นะครับ if we can do this in the future นะครับ so that's all for the first session today ครับ back to คุณ Terence ครับ thank you นะครับ คุณเกรียงไกร thank you very much ครับ
Thank you.
Thank you much ครับคุณวชัยครับ
Yeah, thank you both Kun Kien Krai and also Kun Dewachai. I think it's a very good sharing to the audience. As you know, Thailand is the first among the ASEAN countries to roll out 5G. So after 2 years' time, we have seen very solid how they support digital transformation for ports. It's very, very promising. As everyone you know, changing a business is not simple and easy. With the complexity, with the daily operation they are running, right? I heard some of them told me that it's not easy to lay cable in a port, especially as a port operating daily, right? With a lot of traffic. So it looks like 5G is really a good alternative to, and also provide much better features to support new use case for more automation, more analytic. I think this is a very good example. So now let me introduce the next pair of speaker, which is coming from China. So Yeah, let me welcome Madam Chen Jiajia, the Deputy General Manager from Department of Transportation and Solution in China Mobile, and also Lucas Hu Qiming, Senior Director of 5G2B from Huawei. So Madam Chen will speak in Mandarin. So if you are English listener, you can select the English channel in the Zoom menu. Hi, over to you, Madam Chen. Can you hear? Yeah, you can share. Yes. 你可以 share 你的屏幕。
好，可以看到我们的屏幕吗？
能看见。
好感谢主持人 Terence 的介绍。尊敬的各位嘉宾，大家下午好，我是中国移动交通行业拓展部的陈佳佳，也非常感谢主办方的邀请，很荣幸呢能够参加本次亚太地区5G 智慧城市、智慧港口与物流的研讨会。与各位呢来共同的探讨5G 在交通运输方面的应用，也借这个机会呢和大家一起来分享我们中国移动在推动5G 应用创新、助力港口智慧升级方面的一些实践与探索。那么众所周知呢，中国呢是一个港口大国。在2021年全球集装箱吞吐量前10名的这个港口中呢，我们中国呢占了将近7个。近几年呢，中国的政府也是大力在推进智慧港口的建设，印发了多个政策的文件。我们的国务院呢，在这个交通强国的建设纲要文件中就提出，要将5G、北斗等新技术与交通行业深度融合，打造具有全球竞争力的国际海港枢纽。交通运输部呢也下发了关于建设世界一流港口指导意见，提出呢要开展基于5G 远程作业操控技术研发，加快平安港口、智慧港口的建设。交通运输部呢在关于推动交通运输领域新型基础设施建设的指导意见中提出，要将5G、V2X 深度应用于港区的智能调度、自动驾驶，推动港口实现建设、养护、运行全周期的数字化。这些关于5G 加北斗新型信息技术赋能智慧港口转型的诸多政策，为我们描绘了中国智慧港口发展的宏伟蓝图。宏伟的蓝图也需要实践去勾勒，顺应国家的号召、行业的需求和技术的演进趋势。我们中国移动依托自有的全球最大规模的5G 网络、全球最大规模的高精度定位网络，以及我们的车路协同技术，打造了国际一流的新型信息技术基础设施，赋能港机远控、智能理货、无人水平运输、港航信息化等场景，助力港航数字化、智能化升级。目前，我们中国移动的智慧港航的能力已经服务于了9个省份、16个项目和21个码头。宁波的舟山港是全球最大的货物港，港内传统的港机远控安全隐患大，人工成本高，光纤的改建难度大，成本高。在此，我们实现了全国首个5G 港机远控应用落地， PLC 控制可靠性达到了5个9，也就是 99.99%， 提高了效率和安全。上海的洋山港是全球最大的集装箱港，港内的传统理货人力成本高，工作效率低，并且容易出错。在此，我们落地了5G 智能理货应用，一人可同时监管多台暗桥，残损箱的识别率达到了95%以上，大大提升了作业效率。广东省的5G 智慧航道项目，我们针对航道监管实时能力弱、 效率低等行业客户的痛点问题，通过智能云测绘、自动化巡检等技术手段，实现了航道的监管，养测效率提升了近30%。这个亿元级的港航标杆项目，也是全球首个5G 加北斗的能力在智慧航道上的应用。在天津港的5G 智慧港口项目中，我们聚焦自动化集装箱码头建设成本高、能源消耗大等难点、痛点，基于5G、AI 等技术，实现了全球首个港口自动驾驶和5G 远程控制。码头的作业效率提升了20%，人员的配备减少了60%，能耗的降低达到了17%。我们也非常感谢 GSMA 对我们这个项目的认可，给我们颁发了互联经济最佳移动奖。这个港口的成功经验，我们认为它可以复制推广到各大港口。这也是我们今天呢想要和大家深度的来做分享和交流的一个中国移动智慧港口的龙头项目。说到天津港的这个项目呢，可以追溯到2020年，天津港、中国移动和华为，我们联合成立了5G 智慧港口的专项小组，依据了5G 港机远控、5G 无人水平运输、5G 智能理货等业务场景的特点，利用5G 网络超大带宽、超低时延、广覆盖、高可靠性的优势，北斗高精度定位能力与私有化定位平台，并且结合了 AI、大数据、视频、云计算等 ICT 技术，创造性的构建了5G 加北斗加云的天津港新型基础设施，满足港口作业全流程可视化、联程联运、多式联运的要求，奠定了天津港的数字化基石，建立了天津港智慧港口自动化水平运输的体系。基于我们的5G 加北斗加云的这个天津港呢，我们也创造了多项全球首个的记录。第一个首个呢是全球首个 2.6G 加700兆的 5G 的港口专网，这是我们针对天津港业务种类多、带宽需求大、网络可靠性要求高的特征，建设的一张天津港特色的融合5G 专网。项目具备10个 2.6G 的基站和2个700兆的基站的深度覆盖能力，网络的空口平均时延呢可以低于10毫秒，平均的速率超过120 Mbps， 双频段双 MEC 的结构提升了网络可靠性至 99.999%， 也就是5个9，满足了港口业务苛刻的网络要求，同时兼具网络 SLA 的监测能力，满足了港口的业务需要。第二个首个呢，是我们的全球首个北斗私有化系统在港口的规模化商用。我们为天津港构造了全球首个私有化的北斗高精度定位的拨发平台，服务了全场76台无人机卡、200台港机和多个系统，实现了动态5厘米的定位精度和20纳秒的授时精度的常态化应用，数据可用率高于 99.9%， 并且位置数据不出港，保证了定位数据的私密性，并且呢，我们也发挥我们运营商的优势为整个这一套系统呢提供的是7×24小时的电信级的这样的运维服务，确保可用好用。第三个首个呢是全球首个完全自主研发的 5G 远程驾驶系统。我们为天津港构建了基于算力网络的低时延远控服务， 赋能天津港无人集卡远控、云网边端一体化的系统建设。在单车自动驾驶失效的时候，可以实现远程的接管车辆，降低运行的风险。可以实现一人监控全局任务，一台驾驶舱操控多辆车，提高管理效率。可以准确有效的操控车辆到达指定的作业位置，提升作业精度。同时，远程驾驶系统具备8路视频传输、超低时延、云化调度等优势，提高了5G 远控驾驶系统的鲁棒性，满足车辆远程驾驶实时精准控制的需求。天津港的5G 智慧港口项目显著提升了港口的运行效率和安全生产的能力，大大提升了港口的竞争力。它不仅适用于天津港，我们认为呢，它也能推广到其他的港口和工业领域，具备全球推广的示范效应。未来，中国移动还将继续跟我们的合作伙伴天津港，跟我们全球的业界的合作伙伴一起，构建产学研用一体化的研发体系，共同推动智慧港航相关的技术标准的研究，共同拓展5G 智慧港口的智能应用，强化网络业务与智慧港口关键技术的融合深耕，共同推进5G、北斗、云计算、AI、高精度定位、V2X 等关键技术的研发与创新，共同丰富扩大智慧港口生态，共建智慧港口产业的生态圈，激发智慧港口的澎湃活力。一花独放不是春，百花齐放春满园。希望能够借这次会议的机会呢，结识更多志同道合的合作伙伴，携手加速港航数字化转型，促进港航事业蓬勃发展，为提升国际经贸水平做出更大的贡献。我的介绍就到此结束，谢谢大家。下面呢，我们还有一个天津港的一个实地的一个视频，也呢，请大家呢再花一点时间呢观看一下。
自5G 发展初期到现在，天津移动携手华为，在天津港建积极探索实践5G 价值应用场景，助力天津港打造全国首个5G 全场景智慧港口，轮胎吊5G 远控、5G 无人机塔等5G 加港口布局正在全面推开。其中，轮胎吊作业场景作为港口垂直运输系统生态中的重要组成部分，也是港口5G 高价值应用场景之一。在堆场扩建场景中，用5G 远控替代光纤远控，可以有效避免挖沟埋线的长周期施工过程，降低港口自动化改造门槛，节约建设成本。无人机塔作为天津港水平运输工具的一个重要发展方向，利用商用机塔底盘改装，集成毫米波激光、毫米波雷达、摄像头等，并利用高精度地图和定位，由控制中心监控无人机塔的位置、姿态、电量、载重等，下发车辆规划信息，实现自主行驶。其对网络时延要求高，多台无人机塔在远程接管时存在视频回传需求，移动的港口5G 专网很好地保障了该诉求。中国移动发挥5G 加能力优势，结合 AI、CDE 等新领域技术积累，联合华为，目前已在港口、工业、钢铁、医疗、电力等多个领域实现了5G 商业落地，全面助力企业的5G 信息化建设。
好的，再次感谢大家，感谢主办方，感谢主持人，感谢各位嘉宾。
谢谢陈总。Thanks, Madam Chen Jia. And now I pass to Lucas. Over to you.
Okay, so good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Lucas Wuziming from Huawei Carrier Network BG. So I I'm in the 5G 2B department. Actually, our major customers are the operators globally. We work together with operators to help them to touch the customers of the enterprises, including the ports, the manufacturers, and many other businesses, many other industries. So today, I'm glad that I have this opportunity to discuss the digitalization of ports with the new technologies, including the 5G, ICT, and other technologies. So first, let me share my presentation. So just now, we have our customers from China Mobile to share their experience and their practices on the smart ports. Now, please allow me to share some of our thoughts and our offerings on the digitalization of the port industry. So actually here, a small insight on the port industry. I think everyone is familiar with this. There are roughly 3 phases of the port development. First is a traditional port. There's no automation, so the ports are simply the logistic stations. And then we have automation, and the ports are becoming the converging logistic platform. And then the vision is to develop the port to the smart ports by using the technologies including 5G, cloud, AI, big data, and IoTGs. So something I want to add to the global award in the 2022 from the GSMA. So we're very honored to accept this award from GSMA together with Tianjin Port and China Mobile. And we are very happy to help our customers to overcome the challenges in the ports, because the port, they have very intensively of labor and operations, but they also need to improve the efficiency to meet the expansion targets. We want to achieve 30 million TEUs in 2028 by fully leverage the new ICT technologies, including 5G for the large bandwidth, wide coverage, and also the stable low latency, and other technologies, including cloud and big data. We have happily helped them to get closer to the target. And this award is called the Smart Zero Carbon Container Port. We have seen very positive outcomes in the container terminals compared to the traditional automated container. We see reductions in investment, reductions in the container operations, also in the labor intensive, also the number of personnels and the power efficiency. So how this was achieved? Let me share our ideas on the ports of how we can support the ports to do the smart upgrade. Actually, we can imagine that the port is a human body. So we want to, from every part of the body, we wanted to modernize or digitalize the body parts to make it more intelligent. For example, we want to have the brightest eyes. That means we have intelligent interaction, including the cameras, sensors, or the terminals, even radar. And then we have the network. Intelligent connection is like the neural network, including 5G or fiber, or maybe the new generation of Wi-Fi. And with this network, we can transfer the blood, which is the data, to the center, to the brain, and to the other parts of the intelligent body. Then the most important is the intelligent center, which is the smartest brain of the port. We have the cloud, and on the cloud we have the left brain, which is awareness, including the monitoring, the data access, and the intelligent analytics. And on the right, we have the right brain, which is decision making. We use new technology, including the artificial intelligence, the big data, and the planning systems to help the ports with better efficiency on the planning and on the scheduling. And with all these new technologies, we are able to enable the smart applications so that it's like we have the fastest limbs, hands and legs. For example, we have the remote control for the cranes or RTGs. That's like, it's like we have very faster and more powerful hands. So can also enable the autonomous trucks, which is not, it's like that we have more powerful legs. So especially on the 5G, because today we are focusing on the 5G solution. So how can 5G, what can 5G do in the port industry? Here we have 3 typical use cases which can be achieved by 5G, which are the crane, remote control, intelligent guided vehicle, and smart tele. The first one is the remote control. We can move the driver from the top of the crane to the center control room. So the working environment is improved or not. So the workers can have much better working conditions. And then the guided vehicle, so or the autonomous truck. So there's no need the driver for each vehicle. There will no need to assign a driver on site, but these trucks can move by themselves. And by this, we can save a lot of manpower. And thirdly is the smart tele. There's no need to send the teleman to the yards because it's dangerous and it's very labor intensive. Instead, we can use the 5G plus the OCR technologies to automatically to take notes of the box number of the logistic of the container boxes. So make the logistics more digitalized. Actually, we can achieve this by different technologies, including fiber and 5G. The difference between fiber and 5G is that with fiber, we can have very stable and very low latency. But with fiber, there's an issue that the performance is good, but actually it takes much more investment and it's more difficult to deploy because you need to have heavy civil work to dig the holes to put the fibers down underground, and everything will take time. Maybe it also interrupt the operation. And with 5G, it's much easier to deploy. There's no heavy civil work included. You just need to build 1 or 2 base stations in each yard, and then you can deploy the terminals on the RTG or maybe on the trucks. So, but you can have similar bandwidth and also stable and low latency. So this is a very actually is a very easy solution, especially for the scenarios where we involves mobility. For example, for the trucks, it's not realistic to deploy fiber on the trucks, right? So 5G comes along in this scenario with much more realistic, and it can solve a lot of challenges. But how can 5G achieve such good performance, including the bandwidth and the capacity and the low latency? So here shows a actual networking example. Actually, this is the case from our project we have done together with China Mobile in Ningbo port. Here, of course we are going to build the core network 5G core and the 5G base station in the yard. And on top of that, we have very unique solutions called dual link, 5G dual link. So for each on the Korean side, we are going to deploy 2 CPEs, 2 5G terminals instead of 1. So we are going to have two links simultaneously to transfer the PLC signals. So in this case, even there in one link there is a jitter or there is a large latency, but actually it's not very possible to have two large latency simultaneously. So in this way, we can overcome the interference in the air interface. That means when we combine the 2 links together on the remote end, then the latency will be much more stable. So with this solution, actually we can achieve like 99.99% of reliability on the low latency. And of course, on the capacity, we are going to have multiple technologies, including SuperUplink, including multi-user MIMO or distributed MIMO to support up to 500 Mbps per cell or even higher. So this is how can 5G achieve very good and very stable performance to support the remote control, to make it realistic. Actually, in China, in some projects, we have already deployed the solution to support stable remote control. They're running like for more than 1 year stably without one interruption. So overall, to realize the intelligent body of the smart port, we need to have end-to-end solutions. Actually, this is what Huawei can offer from end to end. We together with our ecosystem partners. On the bottom, we have the intelligent connectivities, including 5G, fiber, and Wi-Fi. And then we have the cloud platform, which is the infrastructure layer. And on top of that, we have new ICT technologies, big data, intelligence, IoT, and GIS. And with this intelligent hub, we can provide enablement on the data and the intelligence and on the applications. Then we have the industry assets. We have some kind of basic capabilities, including the intelligent planning and scheduling, and the machine vision, and the management system, and the intelligent control center. So with this basic capabilities, our partners can develop smart applications for the ports, including the smart operation systems and surveillance, smart tally, like all the use cases I've introduced in the previously. So with all the applications and the intelligent operation center, the port will be enabled and to have to achieve smart ports vision. Actually, our solutions have already been in practice in many projects. We have honorably cooperating with leading ports globally, also with the leading telco operators. We have served more than 50 ports and delivered more than 100 projects in more than 20 countries around the world. When some projects we are happy to mention to cooperated with China Mobile in China, including the Tianjin port, Ningbo port, and many other ports. In Tianjin port, we have the Global Award, and in Ningbo port, like just now China Mobile introduced, we have the first remote control case, and this case has been stably operating for more than 1 year. And just now in Thailand, we have the Nam Chabang port also is Huawei cooperating with Thailand operators. And in Europe, we have also many other ports which are is ongoing cooperation. So we believe that with the cooperation with the global leading industry partners, I believe that Huawei is a very good partner to help you to realize the digitalization of the port industry. We're also looking forward to cooperate with all the partners. I believe that's all I need to share with our audience today. And thank you for your listening. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lucas, and thank you, Madam Chen. I think it's a very good overview about how China Mobile supporting the port development. I also saw a lot of very sophisticated use cases, and also thanks again for Lucas to share us more deep dive in the technology perspective, how it can achieve such a good performance with 5G. Thanks again. So now let us turn to another slot. Lucas, can you stop sharing?
Okay.
Yeah. So let me welcome another pair of speakers who are coming from South Asia. Yeah. So they are Adil Hossain, the Chief Enterprise Business Officer from Robi Axiata, and also Shamik Mishra, Vice President and CTO Connectivity from Germany Engineering. So they are going to bring us to South Asia, talking about the Chittagong port. Over to you, Adele.
All right, thank you very much, Terrace Hong. Thanks for having me in this very strong forum and to discuss something about 5G and automation in port. So as I work in Bangladesh market and as I work for Robi Axiata, let me briefly tell you about how we are working and what is the mobile. I mean, we are all aware that mobile communication journey globally started from late 80s. Then it had grown across over the years. Then started initially with only voice, then SMS came to the scene, and thereafter internet journey started with 3G, later 4G. So now everybody in the tech world is talking about 5G, and many say that this new technology will change the way we use internet. So what is 5G? Is it only internet network? Is it only data network? Certainly it is, of course. We can't deny that, but again, it can help us to go beyond imagination, beyond that. If we talk about a few benefits of 5G, I know there are thousands and many, but those which actually are being attracted, maybe one is self-driving vehicles, automotive industries. Maybe we can talk about manufacturers. Production units will be among the first to deploy 5G technology in order to convert their factory from normal factory to smart factory. And again, maybe IoT, artificial intelligence, is slowly taking over our world. Communication between devices is the backbone of this 5G technology and allowing one machine to instruct another for our convenience. So today I shall present how Chattogram port are being operated in various areas. Chattogram, actually the then Chittagong port, it is the largest port of Bangladesh. Though we know Bangladesh is a small country, but in terms of port, it is pretty big. As we actually operate, I think we are one of the largest garments exporter in the world now, second largest exporter, around $40 billion we are exporting this year. That's our plan. 15 billion pieces of garments we are going to export. So it's not that small actually in terms of, operation of port. So Chattogram port is being located at a place called Chattogram, and that is the second largest city. And being a telephone operator, we are yet to launch our 5G, but we got all the approvals. Any day within the next few days, we're going to launch our 5G in the country. So if I can take you through a bit of historical Chattogram ports, it is actually one of the South Asia region. Earlier in 9th century, it was called Shetgang. During that time, Arab used to handle these regions, and thereafter Mongols took place from 1666, and thereafter 1660, port handed over to East Indian Company. And if we go back to 1888, that time it was a British colony. And after our liberation war, 1971, from 1976, the port has been taken over by an authority called Chittagong Port Authority, and now we call Chattogram Port Authority. There are a little bit changes in this name. So, what are we actually handling? I think if I go to the previous slide, this slide actually we can see the projection. Okay, so I have to just to give you the projection for 2030. Currently, we are handling around 4,000 containers, which is around 3.2 million TEUs. And ultimately, our focus is by 2030, we'll go to 10,000 vessels. Currently, actually 4,000 vessels. And this TEUs will go up to 6 million TEUs, which is currently 3.2 million TEUs, around 1.6 million containers. And current our transaction from this trade is around 60 billion, and we are foreseeing that we can go up to 160 billion by 2030. So our assumption is by 2030, we are going to be the 24th largest economy around. And if we go to the next slide, yeah. So how ports are actually operating now is there are few areas where our ports are doing some automations, especially on the container terminal management system, inbound and outbound. This is also automated by our port authority. We haven't done anything yet. Vessel traffic management is also being done, some bit of automation, not fully. Surveillance systems are there, but still yet to cover entire port area, but through this surveillance. Maybe 5G can help us to do that. Asset and document management system also, they are following some own homegrown their automation, and they have ERP for their payroll, overtime recruitment, and some other accounting and billing systems. So if we go to the next slide, then we can see what are the areas actually to us, what are the areas where maybe 5G can help us to do more automation, and which ultimately give them a better productivity, better solutions. So one of the area actually vessel berthing time reduction. Currently, it takes around 3 days time, which is pretty high. So maybe the automation what we are assuming through 5G that can help them to reduce this automation at least less than 2 days, which is currently close to 3 days. And cargo management is another area maybe we can touch upon later on that, and that is one of the area can be done some bit of automation through 5G. And increased number of vessels offloading, as we know that this offloading and unloading is very critical work for those who operated in a manual way. So this is one of the area we can work on. And obviously cost is everywhere. I mean, cost excellence is a key focus area where our port authority is working on, and we are also trying to extend our support by providing 5G for the port authority. Okay, so let me take you through the how they're operating at the moment. This is basic operations. Vessels are arriving on and taking berth. Thereafter, discharging the container from vessel to hook point. Then containers are being, taken to the next port here by truck or big lorries. Then they're stacking all the containers on that import here. These are import goods actually I'm talking about. Once stacking the containers on that import here, thereafter they're handing over the goods the cargoes to the CNF agent and the customers. And after that, these empty containers are taken to the stacking depot yard, which is actually for the outbound, export bound. And that empty containers are stuffing, and the cargoes are being stuffed by CNF agents for the export. Then that container are being handed over to the vessels. Mostly feeder vessels are being operated here from Bangladesh port. So that's how these circles are being maintained for import then export. So now we talk about 5G. Since 5G is at the stage of launching in Bangladesh market, how we can, being able to digitalize the port through 5G capabilities. So to us, actually, there are a couple of areas. I'm not going to touch upon every areas. I will touch upon only 3 areas, how we can bring some improvement in these 3 areas. One is IoT powered by AI ML based on container unleashing. Actually, the way it works, AI and ML can deep learning by intelligent image processing with pool PLC capabilities with remote management. This will help significantly improve our container management and vessel turnaround time. And next, if we see, we are talking about automated fleet container transporting vehicles. This will also help efficient container sourcing, destination of that container, identification of that container, and transfer the container at the right place on time. This will improve overall efficiency to port capacity by IoT, big data, and obviously analytics. And these 3 combination can give them a unique support, where now this Chattogram Port Authority are really struggling big time, and that is one of the reasons why they are having 3 days lead time to entire that chain. So going to my last slide, where we can talk about a little bit of real-time container management and tracking. As we all know that, I'm sure in many ports we face the similar problem. Sometimes it's so difficult to track your goods. Once it is arrived, we are aware that our goods have arrived at the port, seaport, but sometimes our agents, CNF agents, they're not being able to track the goods because it's not placed in the right place where they're supposed to put it. So that's why asset tracker, one of the provision we can think of giving by 5G. At the same time, tampering alerts, because many of the time we found that imported goods or exported goods are damaged in the port, in the seaport. So these tampering alerts can also help us to track that. And geofencing features is another area we can bring some more improvements. So informing customers and CNF agents about the current container location and current status of the container is also a big help for all of us who are, importing goods as well as exporting goods. So 3 of the areas I'm touch upon, and there are many areas actually where 5G can bring more improvement and productivity enhancement. So I will not take more time on that. Rather, I will request my friend Shamik to take us through on that part. Thank you all for having patience to hear this presentation. Thank you. And over to Shamik now.
Thank you, Adil, for your great presentation. Hello, everybody. I'm Shamik. Happy to be here today. I'm the CTO of Connectivity from Capgemini Engineering. We also deliver R&D services and engineering consulting to our customers. And today I'll primarily be talking about some of our experiences in digitalizing the port, the overall port experience across geographies that we have seen. So I hope you can see my screen now. So let me, thank you. Let me start. So our prior speakers actually spoke a lot about why we need a digitalized port. Why do we need automated port operations? Why do we need better and more reliable and predictive operations in industries like smart ports? So I wouldn't really go into that, but a modern port today is a powerhouse of any world economy. It's the gateway and the entry point for all economic activities of a country, and they form a key link in the global supply chain through maritime services, whether it's cargo transit, whether it's storage, whether it is about hinterland transport. It all begins at the port itself. And the amount of tonnage of cargo that get processed in a port today is a direct revenue generator for any economy. And so automation and improvement of productivity in this kind of model is extremely important to bring better efficiencies in the port operations. And there are many, many use cases today that are being tried out in different ports across the world, including areas like augmented realities based on worker safety, on autonomous guided vehicles, even digital twins for remote operations, automations, and harbor operations. But most of these use cases require a reliable and a secure connectivity system, whether it's 5G or Wi-Fi or fixed wireless. There could be many such options, but 5G seems to be providing the best potential to solve these problems because of its ability to scale and perform in a cost-efficient manner, given the complexity of a smart port. And if you look at the smart port operations today, this actually can be divided into two parts. One is what we call as the operational excellence. It's about improving the productivity and the overall efficiency of a port operations, and that requires automation, it requires logistic flows, it requires remote monitoring of operations. It also has a major impact on how a port contributes to the total carbon emission. So sustainability, if it has to be an important element in the overall vision of a smart port, then it starts at how well we are organized and efficient in the operations of the port. Then, of course, there's a question of traceability and administrative flow. End of the day, it's a supply chain model, and port is actually a platform for an efficient supply chain model. And therefore, the reliability of the information coming from the different aspects of a port, the fluidity of exchanges of information across different elements in the port, mutualization of the infrastructure, as well as centralizing and even at times distributing the information model of how the containers are coming in, the goods that are coming in, how are they being transported, how are they tracked, how are they stored. All the information and the data that gets stored and how they are mutualized inside databases are also an equally important area on improving the overall traceability and administrative flow of a port. And with the deployment of 5G network, there can be some significant gains on both sides of the objectives. And it could be on the operational side, it could be on the transformational side. What 5G, we are looking at 5G today as a transformation agent, which is going to not just change the way we do and manage ports, but how we actually envision a new supply chain model through smart ports. And let's look at some key use cases that as Capgemini, we are working across the globe. This includes, for example, if you look at the harbor itself, there are remote controlled tugboats, which are managed through advanced connectivity, whether it's 5G or fixed wireless. There are ship-to-shore documentation delivery, which can be done through drones, and all of these drones can be automated as well as autonomous to a certain extent, managed over a 5G network. There are environmental surveillance, which is becoming increasingly important. We are using a lot of drones and connectivity capabilities to keep the port clean, safe, and sustainable, including autonomous harbor cleaning boats. So these are completely autonomous boats which are able to keep the overall cleanliness and maintenance of the harbor, of the harbor side of the port completely efficient. They are also important to have secure communications between field workers and operational centers. And we know in 5G as well as in 4G, actually, there are a lot of ways where point-to-point communications can be enabled in a secure manner between different personnel in the port. A lot of work is being done today in computer vision-based supply chain. For example, packages are autonomously or automatically scanned, tracked. Even mispackaged elements in a conveyor belt can actually be detected through computer vision today. Even surveillance and security checks of certain material coming into the port, including how they are managed by the CNF personnel, are also equally manageable through computer vision. And a lot of that depends on how we can decentralize the overall use case. Can we have smart cameras and the intelligence running completely in a different location, say on an edge compute or even on cloud? And how can we continuously ensure that there is learning done for such artificial intelligence solutions with hundreds and thousands of packages coming in every day. What is the method to ensure that the learning model of an artificial intelligence used in a port is efficient is also quite critical in the overall port operations. Then there are safety issues that can also be managed through 5G based or connectivity based solutions. For example, remote controlled ship to shore cranes. This is very important. With increased worker safety, you can actually ensure that the cranes are being handled remotely, completely. When the crane itself is a connected product, it is an intelligent product. It's connected to a 5G network and it can be completely managed remotely by remote operators. It improves safety, it improves predictability of the operation itself. And then there are other areas including smart surveillance and obvious ones like traffic monitoring, vessel optimization, even license plate image recognition and security centers and the operational centers. A lot of other use cases can also be enabled through connectivity, and these are all happening today as we speak. And if we look at, and from a use case standpoint, if we divide it into different parts, one of them is of course the port handling, where automated unloading of containers with very specific and accurate location. In fact, in 5G we can have a very strong accuracy up to a few centimeters. There can be enablement of 4K and 360-degree video analysis. There could be reduction in the overall operational costs. The remote operations that we spoke about. So there are a lot of handling capabilities that can be enabled through 5G, particularly between the command center and the on-site operators. On the flow management itself, it's a complex area, particularly if there are questions of managing smart warehouse, then about managing the overall container delivery from the ship, from the harbor to the warehouse to the hinterland. How do we even ensure that the logistics professionals in a truck is actually aware of what's going on in terms of the consignment? How even autonomous vehicles in certain cases can enable the optimization of the overall routing of material from the port to the storage. Precise geolocation of vehicles, even the mobile devices, and as Adil mentioned about using IoT, massive IoT and autonomous drones for inventory management. So there are a lot of elements of automation possible today in the flow management side. Of course, then there are questions of maintenance and worker safety as well. There are two key areas which, from a Capgemini standpoint, we have been very, very focused on. One is environment, particularly how do we create a connected smart port solutions, keeping in mind the needs of sustainability, particularly the question of environment. So how can we ensure that we can track the pollution levels, CO2, fine particles? How do we actually make better monitoring solutions through IoT platforms, optimization of different kinds of energy consumption in the overall port? And the massive ports have a huge energy consumption. How can this be optimized? And a lot of that can be done through sensors, through port scheduling systems, through better management of the traffic. And all of this can be enabled through 5G today. And then, of course, the question of safety and security, which we discussed at length. Finally, some key examples of what we have been doing in the past few years in connected ports. So there are two examples, one from a port in Spain and one in Portugal. These are specific mission references from port environment. This includes deployment of multimedia platforms in port terminals, a complete automation of a certain part of the port operations like vehicle onboarding, container management, and license plate reading. So these are some capabilities that today's modern ports are already adopting using 5G. These are all 5G use cases. Then there are use cases around docking assistance for container ships through autonomous drones. There are surveillance is a major area today, using drones in very, very large ports, and transmission of video streams in real time for supervision stations. So these are some real examples today in the modern connected port. If you look in a summary, there are 5 prioritized use cases today that can actually achieve rapid performance gains for any port authority with or without a strong maturity on 5G. Even with a strong maturity of 5G, we could achieve much more, and 5G operations are in South Asia at least, is going to start very soon. But even while we await for the 5G, there are certain things we can already start, which includes remote operations and driving, as I mentioned, flow assistance, container inventory, and more importantly, autonomous drone for inspections, installation, surveillance, and then of course, monitoring of critical operations. So there is a roadmap which we believe that the 5G connected ports have to adopt. The first big step is actually the digitization of the operations. The next step is actually get advanced connectivity inside the ports. And finally, building the application ecosystem, the use cases that would drive the overall automation and productivity and efficiency improvement of smart ports. Thank you very much for listening to me. And I guess before we take a few questions, I have a question for Adil. Maybe I can ask you the question directly before we start taking audience questions. So Adil, maybe a bit on the Chattogram port and your vision on for communication technologies. How long do you think this would take in general for a port of the size of Chattogram to actually have a matured communication-driven delivery systems in a port like Chattogram? And what do you think is the timeline that you're looking at?
Yeah, it's a very nice, good question. We actually kept on discussing with the port authority, is a government authority, of course. So good part is a lot of automations has started taking place on their own, as I mentioned, few of them. And recently I came to know that they are going for a paperless office, as port authority, they handles with million and billion of pieces of paper. They're trying to make that also. And now the main discussion between port authority and us is the moment we can start having our 5G operations, especially for that location called Chattogram. So maybe a couple of the solutions, as I mentioned, 3 of them, we will try 1 or 2 by mid of this year. We will try to do some bit of POC. If we can have some, if we can have some success stories between these 2, 3, then maybe going forward, we'll try to bring some more solutions. A couple of them you have clearly mentioned in your presentation also. So by the end of the year, at least we have a plan to have, especially the one I mentioned, AI ML based, container unleashing one. And automated fleet, maybe not within recent 2-3 months. It will take some bit of longer lead time, but especially for port capacity, IoT and big data analytics things, we are taking care of this 3-4 things within next couple of months.
Thanks, Adil. That's really good to know. And do you think really, 5G, yes, great idea, but we could definitely start with 4G, right?
So 4G, we have done some bit of automation, not for the port. Last year we did smart city with 2 of the city corporation. Even for the capital city corporation, we did smart city Dhaka, smart city Chittagong also we started, and some bit of work we are doing for some other city. But port, yes, but since it's a very sensitive area and the export import is the core thing of the country, so and sometimes the entire location is too big, so we would rather prefer to have our 5G strong footprint inside the port location, so that we can ensure them flawless connectivity, because this is absolutely depending on the connectivity, especially when we talk about AI, ML, and so that's why we are not going to start with the 4G at the moment with port authority to convert them smart port in few areas. But since 5G is almost at the end of the launching, maybe by next month or 2. So by July, August, we'll start kicking off few of the solutions for that.
Absolutely, it's a very exciting times, and looking forward to see this happen, Adil. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Over to you, Terence.
Yeah, Terence, thank you from my side also.
Thank you as well. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. Oh, of course, thanks both of you. A very good insight, and of course, we understand 4G is a very good technology, but 5G really bringing additional value. So really looking forward your next stage of more mature, more use case when you adopting 5G. So last but not least, let me share my screen. Yeah. So now we have our last speaker, which is coming from Terra, the president of Thai Automation and Robotic Association. As I mentioned, we recently did a very good case study with Dr. Parin about this 5G-enabled autonomous robot for logistics and good transportation. So we will hear more detail from his explanation in the section today. This day, if you have questions, please post in the Q&A boxes to our speaker, so they will stay for a while to answer your questions. Thank you. So over to you, Dr. Papin.
Thank you, Terence. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, hi.
Not yet. See.
I am. Hello?
Yes. I'm not seeing your screen yet.
Okay. Okay, it's crashed. Let me try again.
No worry. Do you need me to open your slide or?
Okay.
Yes, now I can see it.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you see?
Yes, now I can see it.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Prapin Epinaraseth. I am president of Thai Automation and Robotics Association in Thailand. Today, I'd like to show you the 5G-enabled autonomous mobile robots for logistics and goods transportation. The application here is more on the logistics in the manufacturing environment. Of course, we work with AAS 5G, and the autonomous mobile robots, we work with a Thai company called Livelide, where they do the AMR, including the OT, the operational technology. And the on the IT side, we work with Quadra Technology, and the end user side is a manufacturing facility called Yawata. Okay, so let's start. So we're gonna start from the demand side to show you videos, and then we move on the supply side up to the 5Gs, and then finally I give you the latency times, the data, the speed test, a bit, and then that will be my presentation. Okay, so the demand side is a factory called Yawata Electrode in Thailand, which produced welding electrode. It's a joint venture between Thai companies and Nippon Steel Welding and Engineering Corporation in Japan. And it has about 300 people and been 49 years. And what we have done, with the 5Gs with AIS, you can see from the video. I will show you next. But okay, before that, what this factory did, because this factory has a BOI, Board of Investment privilege, to promote improvement in production efficiency. So, corporate income tax exempt. So the factory invested in robotics and automations, automatic flux mixing with Genesis 64 SCADA, and of course, the autonomous mobile robot with a private 5G network. AIS put a small cell there. Okay, then I show you the video. Okay, we tested the AMR in the AAS lab in Bangkok before we actually implement it in the factory. And that's the demand side. Now, the supply side, who manufacture or, innovation created by Levi. So, I will show you the first video of the product line. And then secondly, I will show you the application that they put at the automation park in Eastern Economic Corridor, where, it works with a Mitsubishi automation line and Daifuku ASRS, okay? Okay, quickly, then the next video. This shows, the MR with a robot on top and then move things, yeah? From model line to the Daifuku ASRS. Okay, and the products, you can see this is what they have, different applications. Now, let's move a bit into the technical, yeah, because it's 5G, so, a little bit technology behind it. So basically, we're moving from cyber physical into the manufacturing context, which is OT, operational technology, and the IT. The important point that I want to stress here is the IIoT interoperability, the standard IEC 62541. So it means the connectivity should be interoperability. And, there are standards that provides it. Otherwise, there are so many field bus, and it's difficult to communicate. So the important is to use the IIoT, which is the IEC 62541, that is the OPC UA, the Open Platform Communication, Unified Architecture. And then it can go up from IIoT to IoT, and the new standard, already include the MQTT broker for the IoT. So the 5G enable for cobot AMR in this context, do use this OPC UA software, and communicate that everything, through this OPC UA IEC 62541. Okay. And then how does it work? Now, we are talking about this 5G enabled autonomous mobile robot for Industry 4.0. So it can work with internet, Wi-Fi, 4G, and 5G. For the 5G AAS enable, in this case, we connected through the 4D here, dedicated radio equipment installed and managed by mobile network operator. AIS put a small cell radio, equipment to cover the factory. That factory has about 15,000 square meters. Now, this 5G enable can communicate through PLC, which has the OPC UA module. So it uses the OPC UA, protocol, and communicated through QIIoT, which developed by the Quadra technology. So basically, if we use the local cloud, which is the local server, then we can go on the right side. But then if you want to use the global cloud, the QIoT server you can do on the left side. Now for the Yawata case, we put the local cloud at the factory. The 5G connect, this Facobot has a CPE and communicate through 5G with the small cell radio, unit. And then it went to the, I think the AIS station about 2 kilometers, from the factory. And then the 5G came back to the local cloud and then communicate with the AMR manager computer. So we communicate this way, okay? Which, we tested with the 5Gs. Now, you can see this is the result. The 5G speed test, SA speed test, download is about 926.73 megabit per second, and upload is about 98.98 megabits, yeah, using 2.6 gigahertz. And the latency time is average about 9.7. So less than 10 milliseconds in the live network. So the software, when we develop the Quadra technology, they developed the OPC-UA, which they call it QIoT. So we would have the software to monitor all the traffic, going through, 5Gs and to the Facobot AMR. So everything we tested with the, at the AIS lab. And then, we can monitor and we know all the latency time in Bangkok first, everything went well. Then we went to the factory. AIS team, were very professional. They put the small cell 5G radio unit. Then we have the AMR with the CPE. Then we did, they did, both, all the party involved did the fine tuning, in the system, along with the AIS people, and then everything works. AMR has a video camera, and as you can see from the video from the beginning, that video image also being sent through 5Gs, and still we can get about less than millisecond latency. Okay, so what I just show you is actual work of 5G enabled autonomous mobile robot with Thailand AIS 5G. The software developed in Thailand. AMR is an innovation product which took about 2 years by a Thai company called Livelite. And everything to be 5G enabled, we need AIS, and AIS came in and the team very professional, and the result came out very nicely. So now it is being shown, and many customers are interested. So this is one of an application which in the logistics and transportation in the manufacturing context with all the know-how by Thai. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Papin. Very good insight. First time to very clearly understand how this robot can move between factory and also between one factory to another factory, because you're using the local cloud and also the public cloud. Very, very good illustration. So I think now, before I end the section, I just suggest you, if you still have some question to our speaker, especially to Dr. Papin, you can put it in the Q&A boxes. So Dr. Papin, please take a look if there are some questions to you. We will close the section at 5 minutes later. So if you want to have some question to the speaker, please, you still have 5 minutes to pose it. So before I end, I just want to remind just want to remind all of you. So the 5G industry community is really looking forward to support you guys, especially if you are enterprise, government, department, you want to start the POC. We have a contributor member around the region who are actively working and supporting you. So if you want to look for innovation partner like Tara, what Dr. Papin is one of our very good innovator. He worked very closely to support the industry for enabling the technology for different kind of use cases. So you can reach out them or just reach out to me. I can pitch you to them. And of course, some of our presenter today, like Asiata, AIS, you can find their connection in the chat box. If you want to reach out them to start the proof of concept on 5G, please go to them directly. If you miss their email, no worry. You can also connect me. I'm Terence Wong, TWONG@gsma.com. So just remind, our next activity will be on 2nd of June, which is about connected healthcare. So this time we also have very good lineup of speakers in the region and also from Europe as well. And then I think many of you already post questions in the Q&A boxes. I thought most of our speakers already have to answer. If you still have other outstanding questions or you have new questions in the mind, just go to me. And then for the presentation, I will ask the approval from our speaker before I will share to you. Okay, so thanks for your time. And thanks again for your patience and interest to stay with us for the over 2-hour time. So like what I'm saying, we will close the session in 5 minutes. So if you, in 3 minutes. So if you still have questions, you can post in the Q&A box. Thank you. So just remind, if you have questions, better to put in the Q&A box because in the chat window, we may lose easily. So better to put in the Q&A box.
I think there are 2 questions for me that would like me to answer the question live. Yeah. You want me to answer?
Sure. You can answer verbally.
Okay, Poi Tan, the question for me is, does OPC UA software sit inside the AMR? OPC UA requires, client and server. The client side sit in the AMR. The server side sit in the cloud called QIOT. So the communication both, requires client and server. Okay, so that's my answer. The second question from Anders Bayer. Did you wrote the application used specifically to take advantage of local and centralized compute? Okay, the application was written specifically, to take advantage of either local or cloud, because it's transparent, it can be anywhere, yeah? But you said centralized compute. Well, at the AMR, the software is being written in Python, and it compute everything and send everything to the OPC UA server, that is QIOT, which is written in C#, in Microsoft environment. And everything, of course, the computation and everything being sent through, and we can monitor all the navigation, all the parameters and everything. Okay, thank you.
Very clear. Thank you, Dr. Papi. Thanks again. Very good, very helpful. So we have 1 minute. We will shut down the section. Don't worry if you have a new question or you need our support. Just reach out to me. I'm Terence Wong. In case you don't know me, I just type it back in the chat box. Yeah. Yeah, I think we only have one question from Dr. Timothy. Actually, this is a very good question about the planning on the dimensioning. I will get back to you. I think this is a very common question. It will depend on the scenario whether you can optimize the network if you don't want to increase the number of node B. So this is really depends on the scenario. It's can't just answer you generally. Okay, I think yeah, I think let's end the section today. Although there's some outstanding 1 or 2 questions, but just like what I'm said, you can send me the email. Thanks again for your time and your patience and your interest. See you next time in our next APAC 5G industry community activity. Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.